Hello there, I'm interviewing my mom, Jill Wheeler, about the 1992 riots in Los Angeles involving Rodney King. So, where and what were you doing when you first heard of the LA riots starting?
Well, I remember that it was in the spring of 1992 because I was pregnant with you. We lived in Perry Hall at the time in Baltimore County. I don't remember exactly what I was doing when they broke out, but I do remember just being glued to the TV set the whole time, just watching continually the news and what was happening out there, and just trying to follow and understand what was going on out there during the riots, and watching the video of Rodney King and all the violence that happened afterwards.
Okay. Do you believe that the Rodney King beating was the only reason for the riots, or was there other factors behind it?
I think that the beating and the subsequent video that came out that was shown worldwide about the Rodney King beating was certainly the spark that ignited the riots. I think that there was probably a lot of underlying tensions at the time, apparently, in the city of Los Angeles, a lot of racial tensions that, you know, I certainly wasn't aware of at the time, but had come out after that. So it was certainly the spark that ignited it. You know, everybody was waiting for something to happen, I guess, and that's what happened, and people just took off and rioted because of the injustice that was done to him. Okay.
What was the country like at this time? Was there a lot of racial tension and frustration between people and racial groups?
You know, personally, I personally wasn't aware of that. Where I lived, I wasn't aware of any racial tensions or any things in my personal life or professional life where I saw any of that. But certainly after that happened, there was a ton of racial tension. A lot of, you know, white and black issues, a lot of people saying, you know, that shouldn't have happened to him, a lot of people saying that it should have, other beatings that subsequently happened that they caught on video. I remember that there was a truck driver, and I can't remember his name, a Caucasian gentleman who was pulled out of his truck during the riots, who was just beaten to a pulp by a group of African American men in retaliation, so to speak, for what had happened to Rodney King, and that just raised everybody's tension and anxiety and anger towards what had happened. It was just a terrible time for the people of Los Angeles, and I just think it opened up a debate nationwide that people were talking about constantly.
Okay. What were the reactions to the people on the East Coast to the riots? And did you ever feel that it was going to happen in Baltimore or in the Mid-Atlantic region?
I think the people on the East Coast were, like I was, certainly aware and watching all the time, and, you know, and involved in many conversations with many people as to what was going on out there, and could it happen on the East Coast, could it happen in Baltimore. I never remember feeling like in fear that it would, or that, you know, things would break out and erupt here. I don't remember that, but I do know that it was a lot of talk, a lot of debates, a lot of political figures going on the news. You know, it was just a really anxiety, stressful time for many people, but especially for the people on the West Coast and the people in LA.
And one more question. Do you think that the cops beating Rodney King helped bond Hispanics and African Americans together to hate Caucasian people, or do you think they already had that bond?
Gosh, I don't think that. Since I'm not African American or Hispanic, I really can't answer that. I mean, I can only give you my best guess and speculate that, you know, I think that at the time, you know, the video showed exactly what happened. There wasn't a lot of debate about what had happened, and, you know, it was an injustice to Rodney King at the time, and I think that people took that, and the Hispanic population and the African American population out there probably did band together, and I don't know that they hated Caucasians because of it, but I think it was a call to justice and a call to do what's right and treat everybody equally and fairly, and I guess perhaps that hadn't been happening all along to the minorities out on the West Coast, and especially minorities in big cities like LA. So I did think that that raised awareness and brought them and bonded them to fight for the justice that they deserved.
Okay, thank you very much.